Got Me is a one-woman show about cancer. It's a comedy. When my mom was diagnosed with cancer, I know, very uplifting, we looked at each other and said, why us? Why is this happening to us? But then we turned it around and we said, why not us? Are we so special and we can choose to step up, or we can choose to be bitter? And I refuse to be bitter. Being bitter is not an option for me. Once upon a time it was, my 20s, that's for being bitter. I'm too old for that.
In the year 2000, I moved to Los Angeles. And I got there, and I looked around at the other actresses, and I promptly stopped acting. I don't know if you've been to Los Angeles, but the women there, God, they're tall, all of them, and thin, and they don't have any back fat, because they're bitches. One day she said to me, she said, Jen, listen, I heard about this job opening for an office management position, and I can't go to the interview because I'm about to be a famous model, but it might be perfect for you. I'm interviewing to be Nicolas Cage's office manager, and so I got the job. Jen, hey, it's Nick. Get me Jay Leno. Okay. And hey, Jen, it's Nick. What's my phone number? And I got off the plane in Chicago and I had a voicemail from my mom. And that voicemail was telling me that my father had overdosed on pain pills and was in the ICU. Now, I'd like to tell you about my father because he was real fucking weird. My father was a white Black Panther. I know. He was. Until my mom put an end to it. All right, hang it up. You're white. You're never going to be accepted as a real Black Panther. Hang it up. So we did. It was true. He wasn't black. She was right, right? It was true. What you're supposed to do now is you tell them, if you see ancestors around your bed, go with the ancestors. You know, she's from LA. What do you want? So I didn't know. And he shot up and said, where are we going? Can we go for pizza? It didn't work out. But we laughed. And I wore the same thing every day. My depression uniform. Gray, unflattering sweatpants. Gray, unflattering t-shirt. And orange Crocs. Before you judge me. Fuckers. Before you judge me. Zappy, you, fuck you, I have a knife in my butt. Before you judge me in 06 Crocs, we're still a little bit cool. Whatever, let's move on. I was in a bad way. Crocs was the least of my worries. And I had nothing to do all day. So what do you do when you have nothing to do all day? Well, if you're me, you wander around Evanston. And I met some nice people. And they also wore Crocs. And they, one night, invited me to a party. And I was like, no, Mom, I don't think I'm going to go to that party. She was like, you're fucking going to the party. Okay, I'm going to the party. Well, I just got home from LA where I couldn't hack it. My dad just died of a painkiller overdose. And, all my relationships with men have been shit. It's nice to meet you. Instead, he asked me out for ice cream. Who the fuck goes out for ice cream? Well, I do. Because I married the guy. She said, stop it! Stop it! I'm gonna be fine. It's just cancer. I'm gonna be fine. You and me, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be fine. And then she turned to the doctor and said, all right, let's get this fucking show on the road.
So why would I go see the show?
Why Not Me is a show about cancer. It's a comedy. The subtitle of the show is Love, Cancer, and Jack White. As my mom got sicker with cancer, I began to have these weird, reoccurring dreams. And I happened to choose Jack White. It could have been David Hasselhoff. Glad it's not. And the dreams got more and more sexual until, it culminates in something that you see in the show, so you have to come.
There'd be Jack White on stage, singing. And I would long to kiss him. I had to kiss him. I loved his stringy black hair and his pale, pale skin. And so after the show, I would run around the stage door and wait real nonchalantly. And wait. And then he'd come out. And he'd totally ignore me. Except when he passed me, he'd give me one of these little impish smiles like this. And I put the CD in the CD player. And I rolled up the windows. And I turned up the volume. And I began to rock out. Oh my God, I listened and I felt so connected to Jack. I loved the way he sounded, kind of like a man and kind of like a lady. I loved it. And then I got back in my automobile. And I sat for the first time in a long time in silence. Mostly because they stole my stereo. And then God spoke to me. I know. He did. And God sounded just like Nicolas Cage. And he said, Jen. Hey, it's God. Jack White is not the answer. He plays a mean guitar. But he's just a man. He's not the answer.
Tell the world I do. Will I pray each night?
Why Not Me, which is my show, is about cancer. Laugh Riot. My mom and I both walked around saying, why us, when she was diagnosed with cancer. And then we were just one day like, well, why not us? And the other reason is called Why Not Me. I spent so long being like, I can't be an artist. That's for other people. No. I can do this too. Don't you want to live your dream? I mean, that's my question for people. It's like, I want us all to be happy.
The Grand Canyon is beautiful and mind-boggling and incredible. And the reason I think it's all of those things is because that canyon has seen some shit. It has seen wind and rain and violent storms and erosion, and that's why it's beautiful. And so I decided to take my dying mother on a cross-country train trip to the Grand Canyon. Big fucking mistake. And if you've never spooned your dying mom on an Amtrak train, I'm gonna recommend it. It's very sad, but it's beautiful. They said shit like this. Jennifer, I want to quit this motherfucking job, but I can't. You know why? Because they got me between a rock and a hot plate. Jennifer, I know you think that you're better than me, but it takes two to tango. It also makes perfect sense. Oh, girl, do not come in here because I just did one of them shit farts. That kind of stuff. To me, the best I can do is say that God is just a benevolent thread that connects us all. And you can call it God, or you could call it Buddha, Or you could call it fucking Richard Simmons. I don't care. So there's piles of shit and there's piles of good job. I called stage 773, which is where we are. I called stage 773 and I said, hello, stage 773, I'd like to do a little show. And they said, we'd like to have you do a little show. I said, great. They said, the first night that's available is November 16th, 2012. 1 year anniversary of my mom's death. Exactly. Come on! There are no mistakes in the kingdom of Richard Simmons. Except those shorts. Those are questionable. And the lady next to me, she turns and she sees what's going on and she says, honey, do you think that by holding on to those armrests so tightly, you are keeping this plane in the air? She said, do you think that if you let go, just even a little bit, something terrible is going to happen? I said, yes, I do.